Tourism remains one of the largest employers of labor, providing livelihoods to millions of people, contributing to local infrastructure development and conserving the natural environment and cultural assets, among others. Now, with the swearing in of Bola Tinubu as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the sector is expected to expand with specific focus on existing traditions, cultural artifacts, and improved infrastructure development. During his campaign in Cross River State, President-elect Bola Tinubu promised to make it a tourism wonder, just as he did during his tenure as governor of Lagos State. Now, we have in the studio the Director General Emeritus of Nigeria Tourism Development Corporation and the Executive Secretary towards a Greater Nigeria Foundation, Omotayo Omotosho, MFR, to discuss what more can be done in the place to utilize resources in the tourism sector. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Before you're behind the cameras, some was saying that you look tourism yourself.
Don't mind him. I heard him say that.
Good to see you in the studio.
Same here,
Good to see you.
Same here.
Now, we have talked about the issue of the need for tourism so many times on the program. I remember the days you were, DG of the Nigeria Tourism Development Corporation, where it was on the front burner. We were having foreign investors coming in to look into, what tourism potentials to tap in from Nigeria and all of that. Now, we're having a new horizon coming on board now, where the president-elect is saying that he will look into the issue of tourism. What's your hope? What are you looking at, generally?
Thank you. I must say that hearing our president-elect say that gladdens my heart. And not just gladdening my heart, I believe he would do so by virtue of what he did with us at Nigeria Tourism while I was Director General some 22 years ago. Because when we got there, we saw a reason. When we got there, we saw a reason to. When we got there, we saw a reason to work closely with the states that were ready for tourism. Not all states were ready. And the states that were ready, we were able to identify by visiting all the states. I didn't want to just choose the states. I saw a reason to give them that opportunity to dialogue with us and let us see what potentials we could help them to develop in partnership. So I taught 36 states of the Federation. Wow. When I got to Lagos State, Governor Bola Tinubu at that time told me, my sister, we are ready for tourism. We want to generate revenue, and I know what it takes and how it works in other nations. So you must work with us. You are from Lagos, don't forget to. So don't just sit in Abuja and feel you will stay put in Abuja. You are coming back to Lagos. And I smiled and said, Your Excellency, that's why we're here. And what did we achieve with Lagos State? We identified one unique tourism product that will make everybody all over the world want to come to Lagos, the Black Heritage Festival, where every February, all over the world, we celebrate the Black History Month.
Exactly.
And it wasn't done in Nigeria until that time, when I got there and Governor Bola Tinubu got there. So we sat down together. I came with my own paraphernalia of directors, both from the private sector and public sector, to dialogue with him and his team. Then he had Akim Gbajabiamila as Commissioner for Waterfront and Tourism. So we sat together, we put heads together, and we developed the Black Heritage Festival, where we had a lot of American mayors flying into Nigeria, coming straight to Lagos for the Black Heritage Festival. We developed Badagry as a slave route tourism product. We worked with the Oba Akran of Badagry. We had several numbers of people trooping in. The very first one we had was so emotional because the slave port in Badagry was reinvented. We were still able to get the old chains, the shackles and everything. We packaged it because we go out abroad and we see what people market, even Ghana. So why couldn't we do that? By the time the mayors came, and we now tied it with American Mayors Conference. So they all came and we all went to the Black Heritage Festival held in Badagry. What did we find? By the time they came, they told us We want to see how Nigerians do their naming ceremonies. We believe we originated from West Africa. And Nigeria being the biggest nation in Africa, we believe we are from Nigeria. And they were so emotional about it. And all of us were there working together with them, with the tour operators in Nigeria, the accredited ones that have been accredited by my organization, NTDC. So we worked together. The Oba of Badagry Bakran was so elated. He was the grandfather of everyone. You know, when you do naming ceremony, the father of the baby, exactly. He was the father of these American males. And they all came to me, Madam Tourism, what name do you want me to be named? Wow. Advise me. What name? There was a particular one, Errol Bush, a cousin to George Bush. Errol came to me and said, Madam DJ, I want a name that supersedes all other names because I brought them. I brought them from America. And I want a name that is synonymous with royalty. Wow. So what do you advise? Then I told him, Adeyori Jumo. Wow. He said, what does that mean? It was fun. I now told him the meaning. Adeyori Jumo Errol means your own crown. The crown of royalty that God has given you towers above every other crowns. And believe you me, the tourist traffic started trooping in. My colleague who was heading the Federal Office of Statistics had the data. We were working together. He gave me the number of tourist traffic that came into Nigeria around the time. It was a 4-year tenure. With all that Governor Tinubu did with us, we are so sure that this time around, he won't joke with tourism. Amazing. And I must quickly say, for us to be able to really achieve that beautiful dream of tourism development in Nigeria, we cannot continue having tourism submerged under information ministry. Okay. I'm looking at it at the federal level now.
So you want it as a standalone ministry?
It should be standalone, my brother. Okay. Tourism, culture, and creative arts.
Okay, we'll talk about this. Let's go on a short break, and then we'll be right back for Sam to ask the question. You're watching TVC Breakfast. We're talking tourism on this segment. Stay with us. This segment, we're talking tourism, and we're looking at the prospect and the potentials that we always talk about. Potentials, potentials, potentials everywhere you go in Nigeria. But this time around, we're looking at translating that potential to prosperity and reality. We have in the studio the Director General Emeritus of the Nigeria Tourism Development Corporation, and the Executive Secretary towards the Greater Nigeria Foundation, Omotayo Omotosho. She is tourism herself, and it is embodied in her. We've been discussing this. Sam, you were going to ask a question earlier.
Yes, there was one time I saw a book of pictures about the tourism potential of this country, that in every state in this country, you have your own tourism potential there. And, whether it's Ekiti, whether it's Zamfara or anywhere, there's always something that can fascinate any person. One thing I'm very wary of is what is the tourism consciousness of the Nigerian? Because if you go to countries, especially in the West, people go on vacation just to go and see a particular part of the country. Even when I was in the US, sometimes you went on vacation. What do you want to do? You want to go to a particular. You want to go to New Orleans. You want to go to Washington to go and see all the monuments and everything there. You want to travel to go and see, where's that place? Is it Dakota, where you have all those U.S. presidents, crafted on stone and so on, and things like that.
That's domestic tourism.
That's domestic tourism. So do we have that consciousness? Because anytime anybody wants to go, especially among the elites, those who have the little money, want to go on vacation. Oh, I want to go to London.
London.
To UK.
Dubai.
Dubai and all of that. Nobody thinks of, I want to go to
Obudu Tourist Ranch.
Nobody wants to go to Ekiti, where you have that waterfall.
No,
there's Ikogosi. There's another one I went to. Henry Jesha.
Okay.
With,
the one with the hot and cold
water.
Yes, that's Ikogosi.
That's Ikogosi.
Okay.
But Henry Jesha is so beautiful as well.
Beautiful, very good.
Amazing.
Water flowing. You don't even know where it's gone. Beautiful. There are so many places like that in the country to go to. But when people want to go on vacation, they don't even think about that. I segue that with the issue of insecurity. Why would I want to leave Lagos? I want to go to any place where some people are trying to turn me into their own tourism.
Sam, I love your humor. Okay, I'll take that question from the beginning and then dovetail to the last point you made. Well, you're right that we do not have the tourism consciousness and awareness that we should. And it's a big pity because it wasn't like that during our time. I was appointed in year 2000, and that was the time our president-elect became governor as well. New governors came to being. And as I said, we worked with all the state governors, especially those who were ready. Those who were ready at that time, out of 36, having visited them, were about 12. And I said, fine, I don't want to be jack of all trades, master of none. Let me concentrate on the 12. Good enough, the 12 were spread around the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation, so they wouldn't accuse Omotayo that she's developing Southwest. She's not developing Southeast or Northeast. But then we made a conscious effort. Tourism is about being conscious of what you want to develop and promote. It doesn't have to be a physical tourist site. Our rich cultural festivals, they're tourism products. Our nuances, our folklores, our poetry, our songs, dances, they're tourism products.
Even historical elements.
Exactly.
I remember visiting Umuahia years ago.
Yes.
And I went to the Civil War
Museum.
Museum.
It was not only in bad shape.
Okay.
There was nobody visiting.
Nobody
Almost
would.
as if it's not there.
Nobody would. And I wouldn't say that it's just because of insecurity. No.
No,
Insecurity
at
is
that
part
time
of
there
it.
was no insecurity
Thank
when
you.
I visited.
You're talking of some years ago.
Many years ago, when I went there, I said,
Thank
this
you.
is really a gem of historical
Real
education
gem.
and everything. You saw the tankers, you saw the bunkers, you saw
Exactly.
all of those things. And you went there, there was no queue, there was nothing. Whereas if you go to the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, there is always a crowd of people
on the
there.
queue, waiting to see. You are very right. I must say that with my background of being a media entrepreneur, it aided the achievement of my mandate while I was there, because I knew that if you do not promote what you got, if you don't market it, no matter how hard you work, people will not know what you're doing. So I combined that with my proficiency in culture and tourism, and it paid off. What we did was a conscious, deliberate work agenda. We had a blueprint. And getting the blueprint done was not just officials of the Nigerian tourism development alone. I saw a reason to involve the private sector, the tour operators, the travel agencies, because it's holistic. You can't just bring something and think it will work if you don't incorporate all those people. So we all sat down together and mapped out the areas of interest, the areas of strength from one state government to the other. The state government gave us their commissioners for tourism to liaise with me. And so they were coming so often to Abuja to say, oh, this is what you said we do, we've done it. What else do we need to do? We worked so closely together. And so because of that, we deliberately said, these are the things we have now evolved in terms of development. We have developed these tourism attractions. How do we go about marketing them? How do we go about promoting them? We worked with the WTO in Spain. The World Tourism Organization headquarters is based in Spain. I had direct contact with the Secretary General. So he would tell me, Omotayo, what else do you want? I'll be visiting another 1 year. We'll be ready for you. Duvile was his name then. So we did it must be deliberate. You can't just sit in the office and think the manna will fall from heaven. We set the tone. And the state governors were ready to work with us.
Yeah.
See what Donald Duke did in Cross River State.
Cross River, exactly. Now,
So that today people call Donald Duke Mr. Tourism, Mr. Tourism. He did it deliberately well, and we achieved a great deal.
Yeah,
Why
but
can't we-
talking about Donald Duke, some people said that he did a very good thing in the wrong place.
I'm listening.
Some people said they did a very good thing in the wrong place.
Okay, they feel the wrong place is Calabar?
Yes.
What do they mean by it?
There's no, it is not a place where people can go. Tourism is where you go when you are going somewhere else.
I don't agree.
I like it to, because that's the argument. That's the argument some people have said.
Let me shed some light there.
Yes, yes.
The problem that came up after Donald Duke left was because there was no continuity. And it pains me hollow.
Yes.
Because it's not just for Cross River State. Even the things that we did, my own team, as soon as we left, somebody else came, they didn't continue. If you continued on the, foundation that we laid at that time, would have gone far. When Donald Duke was in Cross River State, they couldn't say he's in the wrong place. Lots of people were coming to Calabar.
It was then we knew the Calabar Carnival.
Thank you.
Yes.
Aside of Calabar Carnival, the Obudu Ranch became Obudu Tourist. God bless you.
So it's actually political. Is it political envy?
So, I don't know what to call it, but it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
We shouldn't bother whether we have political differences or not. This is Nigerian nation, and we desire to generate revenue for our nation. So I never bothered where you come from. Let's work together and make it fly.
People travel to America with leads to nowhere else.
Yeah. now, when it comes to marketing Nigeria, like you mentioned, it seemed to be area that we are not looking at. Now, everyone's talking about Rwanda. People are just traveling to Rwanda to see gorillas.
I'm telling you,
just gorilla.
We got
the mountain
gorillas here.
And we have gorillas in
Yankari National Park.
Yankari National Park. Yeah. Even in Cross River that we mentioned, there are gorillas there. Exactly. So we have all of those. But we see, even in English Premiership League or the Premier League football, we see Visit Rwanda. We see all of this. Every opportunity we see, international media, there's always something on Rwanda. And I went to Rwanda thinking I was going to see that heaven.
And you didn't see heaven when you got there?
I didn't see it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. And I was like, we even have better things than what is seen
Rwanda.
Here. So talk to us.
What is the New Jerusalem?
But speak to us from the window of marketing
our
Nigeria,
potentials. Thank you. I must say that not everybody is ready to do the jackal work that I did with my team when we were there. I told my team, forget about your family. Hand over your family to your spouses. My husband had said, sweetheart, go ahead. I'll take care of the home front. This is a national service. I was living in Lagos. I forgot about coming to Lagos often, only when we needed to see Governor Tinubu on tourism. I stayed put in Abuja and we worked. And what did we do? We realized that international tourism exhibition markets, those are the areas where you can market your potentials to the international front. You can't be doing it locally in Nigeria and they see what you're doing. You must participate. You must mingle with authorities of government, of nations. And we didn't have the money. So why do I call it a jackal work? I knew we needed to do it. We were not given funds in the budget. My minister and I went to the president to make a case. After all the beautiful presentation and all that, he told us of the priority sectors. He said, yes, tourism is good, but I want you people to go and start thinking out of the box. I want to fund electricity. We must get it right. I want to do telecom. Carpenter, painter, bricklayer must be able to have telephones. I want to do agriculture, health, and education. Those are the 5 priorities they reeled out to us. My minister and I weren't too happy, but we felt challenged. Minister Boma Bromilo Jack from Rivers State, 2 ladies. We worked like jackals. I went back to her office and I told her, Honorable Minister, President has said we should think outside the box. Don't worry. I just brought in some 3 gentlemen from the private sector to the Tourism Corporation. They have ideas. We'll come up with ideas, we'll come back to you. And I went back to the office. And they came up with Corporate Tourism Development Partners, CPTD. And what does that mean? They said, Madam, don't worry. Baba says there is not much money. Let him do what he wants to do. He says we should think outside the box. We are challenged. Let us appoint our friends, those that mean well for us, those that believe in us from the private sector as corporate partners for tourism development, CPTD. They all want to associate with you because they know you and they know your pedigree. So by the time we appoint them, we will go visit them. We tell them we can't do this alone. We want public-private partnership, PPP. And you are one of the few that we have selected. So we had banks, we had insurance companies, we had multinationals. There were about 12 of them. And we concentrated on the 12. Believe you me, they asked me, Madam Tourism, can we see your tourism agenda? We will fund it. We will sponsor it. And I gave them the agenda because I knew they would ask. So this particular bank, I don't want to be mentioning on television so that it's not cheap publicity. This particular bank will take about 2. Another bank will take 3. Insurance company, I need to mention this. IGI, late Remi Olowode, may he so rest in peace. He funded a lot of tourism projects. Brother Remi, as I will call him because he's much older than me, he will take 3. Another one, multinational, that was how they did all the tourism projects we needed to do. And these ones are majorly tourism exhibition to market our potentials outside the country. Because we needed to build the stalls for Nigeria. By the time you get to an exhibition ground for tourism, your own Nigeria stand must be the most attractive to command attention and respect. And when we did all the quotation and all that, they were running to about $100,000, $120,000, which we didn't have. So that's why we needed the corporate partners for tourism development. And they really supported us. They even sent their own representatives to join us for the various exhibitions. And tell me, I'll give you one practical example that happened. That was when God decided to crown our efforts with success. As if God was looking from heaven and seeing us leaving our family and doing Nigeria work. He gave us Miss World. He gave us Miss World, the first African lady to win the most prestigious beauty pageant in the world. Came from my country.
Amazing.
So I quickly got in touch with Miss World organizers and told them, please send our daughter to us. We want to take her to our tourist attractions for her to see, because I knew they would be exposing her on World Press Conference, fora. And I didn't want Agbani Darego to be embarrassed. Young, beautiful lady, 18 years old. Intelligent, but she wouldn't know until she came. So she came, they gave us authority. Of course, they didn't want to release, they said we should pay money. Thank God for the former First Lady, may her soul rest in peace, Stella Obasanjo. She was the one that now called Ben Bruce and Julia Molly, the president of Miss World, to say, how much are you asking Nigeria Tourism to pay? They don't have money. They're just working and getting interest from the private sector to partner with them. They don't have money. So we're not going to pay. I said, I want to see my daughter. You are saying they should pay appearance fee for Miss World. I'm the First Lady. I want to see my daughter. On that basis, they released Miss World to us. And she enjoyed it. I personally linked up with the First Ladies of each of the states that were ready for tourism. Onari Duke was ready to receive her. Mary Odili in River State was ready to receive her, Justice Odili. Our dear sister, Remi Tinubu, in Lagos State, was more than ready. She would call me, when are you bringing Miss World to my state? And she was not just ready, she sewed beautiful African outfits for her, got her measurement from me, called me to say, please send it, I want to beautify her. I want the world to know that Nigeria means business. All the First Ladies of the states got the measurements, the statistics of Agbani, and sewed lovely, lovely outfits from one traditional zone to the other. So by the time she came,
was marketing Nigeria.
That was marketing Nigeria already. And it was not just dressing her up. She visited the story sites with us. When she got to Obudu Tourist Ranch, she never believed. She never believed it. I heard her calling and say, you won't believe them, 2,000 meters above sea level. Wow. This is amazing. Wow. I'm going to invite my other beauty queens to come and visit.
And there was network in that call.
There was because first we had First Lady, we have the governor. So it wasn't really her phone.
The most important thing is there was a call.
Thank you, that was a call. It wasn't really her phone.
No. Now you are talking about beauty queen.
Yeah.
The real beauty we need now is security. Because without security, that was the second half of the question.
Yes, that you asked.
That
very key.
You cannot move from one place to the other when you cannot move from one place to the other.
You're right.
Because you need
We need that security, no
security,
doubt
because
about it.
those things are out of your hands.
You're right, you're right. And really, that's the second point I want to make with setting the agenda for our president-elect. We must address tourism infrastructure. And an integral part of tourism infrastructure is security and accessible roads to the tourist sites. I had visitors coming in from United States and Caribbean a few days ago because I still promote tourism, even from my private world. And I won't stop marketing my nation, regardless of the challenges we have. So I have some friends, when I went there, they said, oh, Madam Tourism, we need to come and visit Ikogosi, Warm Spring. They heard of Ikogosi from me. I said, oh, that's in Ekiti. They said, yes, can we fly from Lagos to Ekiti? I said, no, you can't fly from Lagos to Ekiti. But you can fly from Lagos to Akure. And then when you get to Akure, the road transportation, I can arrange to operator that will take you and all that. And they came just about 5 days ago. They left yesterday. They had a beautiful experience flying to Akure and then by road to the site. Took pictures, sent them to me. They were excited. When they were coming back, it was a tug of war. They chose to come back by road.
Wow.
Because they said they wanted to visit other states while in transit. So from Ekiti to Ondo, Ondo to Osun, Osun to Oyo, Oyo to Lagos. It was an ordeal. And what was the ordeal? They came back to tell me, I was in touch with them because I invited them, so I'm responsible for them. I was in touch with them and they said it took them almost 7 hours on Sunday. Today is Tuesday, isn't it?
To get to Lagos.
To get to Lagos. From Ibadan to Lagos.
Oh, the traffic.
The traffic. 7 hours. They were so stressed. So they were telling me, oh, this is not good for tourism, Tayo. This is not good for tourism. How would I spend 7 hours on the road? I want to pee. I want to ease myself. I can't go to the road to pee because there were 2 ladies and 3 gentlemen. I can't go to the road to pee. I kept on appealing. Okay, maybe you'll soon see a petrol station somewhere. The toilet may not be too good. Let me prepare your mind. But it's better than you peeing on yourself. Blah, 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 blah. There is no petrol station, Tayo. 7 hours. That is anti-tourism. Not to talk of the issue of security.
But this is because of the roads that they're trying to accelerate before
the handover.
Before the handover.
But Nigerians are saying, why didn't they do this much earlier than now? There must be a plan. If the contractor is not working, get him off. Get another contractor to do it. We can't be doing everything like, what do you call it now? Lastminute.com. We can't. I know we have a works minister that means well for this country. But those operatives under him, the ordeal these people went through, I'm not too sure they want to come back until all the roads and everything have been sorted.
You mentioned private sector earlier on. Are they private sector or companies that have funds for tourism specifically, or you in the tourism sector will have to make them see where they can, channel their funds into? Whichever one.
Good question. We've got to make them.
Oh, I see.
And that's why I said not everybody is ready for jackal work. After I left, some other DJs that came, I communicated with them. I told them what I did to make tourism fly. Everybody was saying tourism all over. So people even thought the president had given us money, not knowing that it's the corporate bodies that are funding us. So I told them. And 1 or 2 of them told me, I'm not ready to do the jackal work. If government is not ready to fund tourism, then let it be. That's the time they will know they must fund tourism. If you give them some sort of an alternative, and you start going to your friends and corporate bodies and all that, they will continue to be lethargic about it. They won't bother. And they had a point on that side, but I said no. While I was there, I said I wouldn't tell Nigerians that I did not perform because I didn't have funds.
Exactly.
We women, when we're given position of authority, we'll go extra mile. Look for the opportunities where we could appropriate. Yeah. So to answer your question, we did that deliberately. The people that we went to were those that when they heard that I was appointed, had a small get-together for me at Sheraton, just to appreciate me. And they thought I was going there to meet a well-funded agency and I'll be able to perform. So there were about 12, as I said. So I quickly enlisted the 12. So it was a personal relationship. They knew me. They're family friends. They're captains of industry. So when I didn't see the money to do the job, I quickly called them. I said, I'm sure you don't want me to fail. What I'm meeting here, the fund is not there. It's not been funded for a long time. And there are other sectors that are priority to the government. How can you help us? We are appointing corporate partners for tourism development. Would you want to join? I said, oh, why not, Tayo? Why not? Because I know you would give me the, what do you call it, the quality for the service I'm rendering. And believe you me, they didn't give us the money directly. We gave them the projects. We gave them tourism return. They funded it.
They funded it.
For my integrity and accountability.
But you need to have like government coercion, subtle coercion of corporate Nigeria to be part of this. This is part of what
now
you call
we should be doing
government, private sector cooperation, that you enlist them. You virtually force them to bring the billions or the billions, or else we will come out with a policy.
You're right. You're right.
That will suffer you for not helping your society.
I was going to round up on that.
Yes.
That I would expect our president-elect to give a marching order to the state governors of the 36 states that they must develop at least one tourism attraction per state. Because all the states are blessed. Both of you are used to that at the opening.
Well, it's a federal government, the federal system. The president cannot coerce a state government.
No, he's not.
He has no right to do that.
It's not coercing.
Yes.
It's not coercing. The way we did it, we didn't coerce anyone. It was persuasion. They knew we got a passion for this. And they knew it's going to dovetail into our GDP, gross domestic tourism. So they were ready. And in addition to that, the private sector will come in. You talked about corporate bodies, captains of industry. They are ready. They are ready, but the state governor must take the bull by the horn. If a state governor says, I want to develop a tourism attraction today, and calls us at NTDC, whether at the ministry or at the agency, who are the private sectors that have been working with you?
Just as Lagos is doing with security.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll go a long way.
If the president-elect, when he comes in and wants to start, where do you think he should start from? Because
It's
tourism
huge.
is everywhere is huge, but he needs to start from
Setting
somewhere.
agenda.
Exactly. Where do you think he should start from?
Thank you. The very first thing I will expect our president to do is to separate culture, tourism, and creative arts from information for us to fly. We can't continue having it together. I have a reason, or I should think the reason why the president now, Buhari, put it together is because he wants to conserve funds, prudency. But then, for us to achieve where we want to go, you can't merge information. He has done that for 8 years. God bless his soul. Moving forward, information ministry, separate. Culture, tourism, creative arts, together. So he calls it CTC. Culture, tourism, and creative arts. CTC ministry. Very essential. International community will start taking us seriously. Because when they got to know that they modeled it up, it's like, really? They even call it information and culture. They're not talking of tourism. So I know Ashiwaju will want to look into that. Number 2, we must fund tourism. Not everybody will do the jackal work, really, because it wasn't easy. If I didn't have somebody looking at the home front for me, if I were to be a single parent, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did together with my team. So Nigeria government must fund tourism and tourism infrastructure. Dubai just pumped $550 billion into tourism. Why not Nigeria?
Saudi Arabia is doing the same thing.
Thirdly, I don't want our governors to be going to Abuja for FAC meeting to collect envelopes. We must get our governors to imbibe this tourism. Those of us in the sector, we're ready to work with them.
Amazing. And we look forward to that. Director General Emeritus of the Nigeria Tourism Development Corporation, Omotayo Omotosho, MFR. Thank you so much for coming on the program. It's always amazing to have you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. I wish you well.
I wish you well
Good to see you again.